Hi, this is Rose Martin, and we are here to take a look at what's going on in this world and get some reassurance that things are not falling apart. We are here to take a look at the heavens as we do every month on the new moon. We are to look at the heavens and see what's going on. Now, the information that is provided in the heavens is provided by our solar system, what the Lord put into place. He put the sun and the moon and the stars into place on the fourth day for signs and seasons. Now we work with the sun and the moon every month to get the new moon. And the moon, where it is in this solar system and around the earth, shows us which area of life is the focus of that month. Then we also have the other planets. We've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto that give us further insight as to what's going on in the world. So, for example, this month we are now in the month of Libra, the new moon Libra. It's a super moon, meaning it's closest to the earth, very close and strong. New moons are the beginnings. They are the beginning of the month, the head of the month, the head of the missile. The most of the power is at the head. So we have opportunity at the head of every month to sit down with the Lord and go over our lives, have our business plan with him, to say, so to say. And we're going to talk about what's going on. Now, Libra is a month that is focused on partnerships. It's for those committed partnerships. Also, it's open enemies, contracts, things like this. So these are the things that the world is dealing with this month. The contracts, the deals, partnerships, how to get along with one another. And this is the area that we should focus on and get insight for our lives. Now, on the Hebrew calendar, though, what is happening is we are in the month of Cheshvan, and Cheshvan is actually Scorpio on the zodiac. So what is going on here? Now, for the last couple of months, we have been off sync. We should say the world is off sync with God's calendar. And so what's happening is that the world is now in Libra, focusing on Libra, but God's people are in Cheshvan. Cheshvan is the month that comes after Tishrei, which is where all the biblical feasts, the fall feasts that we just went through, purifying, cleansing, getting close to the Lord again, getting our marching orders for the coming year. Cheshvan then is the following month where the rubber hits the road. Now let's do all those wonderful things that we ask God to help us with in our lives. So this is what happens now in Cheshvan. So being 1 month, so to say, ahead of the world, we're now not focusing so much on the relationships, but we're focusing on now how to implement God's ways into the relationships that we have in our lives. So Cheshvan is a month where we actually die to ourselves and are resurrected into God's perfect will. We put aside our ways and start working his ways. So we're going to work in his ways with the partnerships, with legal things in life, open enemies, how to deal with people. These are the areas that we look on this month. But the overall overarching theme of the world right now is still this top-down authority readjustment. We've got tremendous rebellion going on, the individual, the I, me, what I want, and the government, the structures, the authorities, everything from the police to the church leaders to the politicians to the government, everything is being scrutinized right now. And if it doesn't line up with the truth, with the way, it is being brought to the surface. It is being crumbled to be rebuilt. So we're still going through it. And in fact, the most difficult time of this time is going to be happening October, November, December into January. So when you see the things around you happening, don't fret. God has a plan. These planets go around the solar system at different speeds and all this stuff, and they all line up, and it's energies that are working with it. So God knows the beginning from the end. He knew that by this time there's so much corruption, so much misalignment, so much whatever, it's got to be cleansed. And so that's what's happening. I want to show you, this is the chart for the new moon. I highlighted the moon and the sun. See, the moon and the sun on the new moon are conjunct. They're right next to each other. And that points to what area of life is the focus for the month. Now, these other planets around here are also in different positions. If you look from our Earth, if you would get one of these wonderful things for the solar system that you could point up there and you can see where all the planets are, you would see this is exactly where everything is placed around our Earth. It's a little different when astrology, because we're focusing from the middle of the Earth and everything's revolving around us, although we know that we revolve around the sun, but this is what is from our viewpoint on Earth. And so the configurations that are happening here, and you can see inside, these are the energies flowing to the different planets, and the red ones indicate stress, the blue ones are easygoing. So we see that we've got a lot of stressful aspects, they're called. And these stressful aspects are between Mars, and that is in Aries, which is a very, very strong, forceful, that's our energy going forward, our individuality, our drive, our individual personality. And it's squaring off difficult, gotta do something about it kind of action with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. Jupiter is expansion, Saturn is rules, regulations, also the word of God, Bina, and Pluto is force. It is tear down, destruction, to transform and be rebuilt. So the individual and government is coming together, forcing people, forcing the world to take a look at everything. You got to do it. You can't get out of it. So the only way to get through it is to be right with the Lord, and then to be right where you're supposed to be when this happens. Because, you could be right in the middle of dangerous situations, but the Lord moves you along to where you can be for safety. So we always need to be right with him during this time. But he warns us, see, there's no fake news in the heavens. You can read what's going on in the heavens because it's going on. Each of these planets has a biblical meaning. It's Yesod is the foundation, which is the moon. Tiferet is the sun. Netzach is Venus, which is beauty. Gevurah is Mars, which is strength. So they all have a biblical insight, and then you blend them together. So I just want to encourage you, this time that we're going through is a very, very intense time. These configurations haven't happened like this since back when Martin Luther did the Reformation, and that was a stressful time, and then back in the Depression in the 20s, this is what was happening. So it's a very, very intense time, but it's not going to go on forever. It's happening so that we can get ready for a new generation, a new era, and even to say a new age. Every 2,000 years or so, there's a new age. And this is biblical, this is astrological. Yeshua told us, I will be with you till the end of the age. There are ages. And so every age takes like a couple hundred years to kind of shift into the new age. So, during the different ages, we had the Taurus, which is the bull, and then we had the Aries, which is the ram, and you could see that with the Moses and the ram's horn. And then we had Pisces, which is Yeshua, the fish, the peace, the love, showing us how to love. Next, we're going to be moving into the age of Aquarius, and they had songs about that in the 50s. So this is what's going on naturally in the world, but the Lord is preparing us for it, and he is with us through all the ages. And the highlight of this age, when it shifts, a big portion of it is going to be December 21st. And this is when the two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, come together. These are the timekeepers in the God system. Jupiter and Saturn, they come together every 20 years, and this signifies a new generation. So within a generation, within an era, within an age, there are different time frames. So what is different about this shift that we're coming up to is, we deal with the elements in astrology also, which is the earth, fire, air, and water. Now, the last few generations, and I want to say one more thing about a generation, it's very biblical in that it speaks in the Old Testament about every boy, every man over 20 years, is going to be in the army, ready to fight. And they said 20 years because this is how long it takes for these two planets to come together. And by 20, this person would have had one conjunction in his life of Jupiter and Saturn, and then he would be able to learn the will of God for his life. So it's a very biblical measurement. And so we're coming up to that December 21st, where a new generation is coming in, a new 20-year period. And it's going to start being in the air elements now. Air. We have been in the earth elements for 200 some years, where it's physical, where it's, the government structure, climb to the top type of thing, materialism, all this kind of thing has been the main theme of our lives. Well, now it's going to move to air for the next 200 some years. See, this is another era in a generation, in an age. I mean, there's different time periods all moving around at the same time. So I'm trying to bring it all together here. But now air and Aquarius is more mental, more technological, more spiritual, without, say, all the religious structures that have been put into place. We're now going to be able to be more spiritual directly with the Lord, directly with God. Yeshua said himself that, you have not asked anything in my name up until this point, but from now on, you can go directly to God and ask anything in my name and it will be done for you. We are communicating directly with God. Jesus was the way to God, the connection to God. And so now we have come through these 2,000 some years where we can even have more direct connection. We don't need to go to the priest. We don't need to go to the confessional booth. We don't need to have a pastor directing us, so to say. I mean, we still need direction and all that, but we are priests and kings ourselves, directly communicating with God. And one of the tools he gives us is the heavens. And this, what I'm showing you and teaching you, is something that was around since Adam, Moses, Abraham, our father, was the head of this whole astrology thing. God saw that he understood the heavens, but knew that God was behind it, that they were not idols. We should never idolize the things in the heavens. We use them as guidelines. Now the book that, do I have it here? Yes. The Sefer Yetzirah, right here. This is the book from that Abraham, it was, of course he didn't write all this. It's probably a couple of pages that he wrote, but there's a lot of commentary. Sefer Yetzirah. This talks about a lot of these astrological things. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get that back in there. But anyhow, it's all based on biblical things. And I want to teach you about this every month. And hopefully you're starting to get it. It is something for the future, especially coming into this age of Aquarius now, and this new generation of Aquarius. We're going to be more spiritually minded, technology minded. I mean, look at how it's shifting into that now. Because of COVID, a lot of people are working from home. Why? Because we can communicate via the airwaves. The symbolism for Aquarius is like waves, airwaves, energy waves. It's also the water bearer, so it has both connotations, but this is the new thing that we're coming into. So it behooves you to start learning about the heavens, and then wonderfully you can learn about yourself through the heavens. Because the moment you're born, the picture of the heavens, because that moment becomes the blueprint for your life. These are the attributes that you're born with that you can then decipher and distinguish. So the way it works every month with this is that we're all together now in the new moon of Libra. Again, I said Libra as the partnerships, marriage, your marriage partner, work partner, business partnerships. It's also open enemies, and they say how open enemies, you with your partners, sometimes it gets to a point and all of a sudden you're an enemy, open enemies, contracts, things like that. So we're focusing on that. And in general, we can all say, Lord, what do you want to teach us about this? What do I need to learn about my partnership, my marriage, any contracts? These are issues that might come up this month for you to think about. And one thing, when you start thinking about things, then it like opens the door to having more understanding, because things start happening then, just because you're aware of that area of your life and you have time to think about it. So this month, what I'd like to do is show you how this affects, how you can apply this more personally to your life. We're all in Libra. The new moon is in Libra, but because of what time you were born, this will be in a different area of your chart. It'll be a different focus for each individual person. So I've gone through, we have our 12 houses. Each area, each house has a different area of life focus. And this is the houses and the description of what's in the houses. General description. So, how does that apply to each person? Now we go by our rising sign. Sun, moon, and stars. The stars are the rising sign. Where were the stars on the horizon when you were born? What zodiac sign was that in? So, if you were born with your rising sign of Aries, this is not your sun sign, although you can get a more understanding about this from your sun sign, but it wouldn't be as accurate. But if your rising sign is Aries, the area of life now, because this is the natural chart, Aries starts here, would be your 7th house of partnerships. This is the month that you're going to start thinking about that, asking the Lord about that. What about your partnerships? There may be more activity in that area of your life. So Aries works now in this month with partnerships. The next sign in the zodiac is Taurus. If you have Taurus rising, then this month the moon is in your 6th house. 6th house is habits and small pets, service to people, service to others, and your health, how you're taking care of your health. So this is the area that we are asked then to look at this month in our lives. How is my health? How are my habits? You know, and the Lord will bring something up about your life in that area. Next on the zodiac signs comes Gemini. So this is the symbol of Gemini and then the word Gemini. There's astrological symbols. If your rising sign is Gemini, that your focus this month is going to be in the 5th house. 5th house is your creativity. It's children. It's the expression of how you display your gifts and talents. It's speculation, stocks and things like that. So these are the areas that topics that you would think about this month. Ask the Lord to reveal something to you. If your rising sign is Cancer, the new moon is in your 4th house. 4th house is your home, your foundation, your childhood, your parents, either your mother or your father. A lot of times your heritage from your father. But I do want to bring something up. This reminds me. The Lord always gets us ready. And the Lord always prepares us and shows us. For months before this all started, I noticed a pattern on the new moons that every new moon, there's 30 degrees in each sign. Each new moon was starting with 4 degrees. Each new moon was in 4 degrees for about 6 months to a year, up until this all started, like at the beginning of January. 4 means foundation. So the message was foundation. Get your foundation in order, your foundation. So then we go on, the moon is in different signs and different degrees after that. But now, starting this month with this Libra, all the way through till Passover, April, each new moon is in 23 degrees of whatever sign it's in. This month is 23 degrees Libra. Next month it'll be 23 degrees Scorpio. Next month, 23 degrees Sagittarius. 23 degrees. So it's another thing to take a look at. What does 23 mean? Why is it, this is rare that it would be on the same degree every month. If you consolidate 23, 2 plus 3 is 5. 5. And one of the meanings of 5 is grace. So through these difficult times that we're going through, the Lord is pouring more grace on his people to be able to get through it, to be able to understand, to be able to move forward in confidence that he is taking care of them. Grace, grace, grace he's pouring on us. So God's taking care of us. And another thing, this thing about us being ahead of the world, one sign ahead, while they're in Libra, we're now in the month of Scorpio. It's going to be like this all the way through until next High Holy Days in the fall. So we're going one step ahead to be able to deal with this stuff that we're going on in the world and be victorious. And then we're going to sink again in September of next year. So you see these different patterns, these different things. They're all working together at one time. But the symbolisms show us that God is with us. He's guiding us and directing us. So back to this now. If your rising sign is Leo, then the moon is in your third house this month. And that's the area that the Lord is asking you to focus on. Third house is communication, it's short distance travel, it's business dealings, it's brothers and sisters if you have them, and it's communication. How do you communicate? How do you speak? What is your style? Are there things that you need to learn about that and get yourself more proficient in speaking, thinking? Okay, so then Virgo is the next, is your rising sign Virgo. The moon is in your second house. Second house is your resourcefulness. This is your money, your possessions, movable possessions. It's how you earn an income. So money and finances would be an area that you would focus on this month and ask the Lord to show you, to teach you. This is the discipleship program. Every month there's that topic and he wants you to explore it, wants you to think about it. Now you could take as little or as much time as you want, but he wants you to take a look, stop, look, and listen at what's going on in that area of your life, along with all the other things. But that's your highlight. And you will probably see things happening in these areas of your life more during these months. All works together. So the next one then would be Libra. And because Libra is the rising sign and the moon is in Libra, that would be in your first house if your rising sign is Libra. The first house then is yourself, your identity, the way you portray yourself to the world and the way the world sees you. It's your gifts and talents displayed, things like this. If you need to have, more confidence in yourself and you're boosting your identity, the Lord will guide you in this area, what you need to build up your identity and the way you present yourself in the world. Then we've got Scorpio. If you have Scorpio rising, then the moon is in your 12th house. 12th house is your secret enemy, is hidden things, hidden thoughts, hidden ways. And secret enemy, many times we are our own secret enemy. It's like the soul in that house where you may not, you may not live to your full potential. You've got thoughts that are bringing you down. You're self-sabotaging, things like this. It's also the house of sacrifice and giving and working in institutions and prisons and things like this, helping others in a self-sacrificial way. So could you help others in a more sacrificial way? Think about those kind of things. Then next we have Sagittarius rising. If you have Sagittarius rising, the new moon this month in Libra is in your 11th house. 11th house is the friendships, it's humanitarian projects, it's caring about the whole group versus an individual, it's love, hopes, dreams. What kind of dreams and wishes do you have that haven't been fulfilled or that you're working towards? What would the Lord say to you about that? Then we come to Capricorn. Capricorn rising, then the new moon is in the 10th house for you. Now Capricorns would love this because Capricorns are business and they want a structure, they want authority, they want to rise in their status. So this is something for them to think about. Now, am I rising in a healthy way, or am I a power grabber, or whatever? It's that area. How do you deal with authority? That's the 10th house is of authority too. How are you dealing with authority? So stop and think about that this month. So then we have Aquarius. If your rising sign is Aquarius, then the new moon is in your 9th house. 9th house is the house of spirituality. It's the house of long distance travel, far thoughts, far, mentally thinking higher education, and it's also long distance travel. So there may be more travel this month going on with you, or to think about traveling, things like that. And then finally, the 12th sign is Pisces. If you have Pisces rising, then the new moon is in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of renewal. It's the house of dying to yourself and rising again in a new way. It's transformation. There may be some transformational things going on this month in your life. Deep down, the 8th house is deep, digging deep. And with Pisces, it's a very spiritual sign, and the 8th house is also very spiritual. So could be very spiritual things going on this month for you. So these are the signs that are going on in the heavens right now. I just want to encourage you that it's tough. It's going to get tougher. There are lies that are going to be exposed that will probably shock you. There are earth things going on. You know, we got Uranus, the planet Uranus, and Taurus. Taurus speaks about the earth and all that. Uranus is sudden, so we got sudden, like earthquakes, all these things, the fires, all sudden earth related incidents. So it's a very, very disruptive time, but the purpose is to purge it out, to separate the wheat from the tare, to bring it into a balance so that we can now move into this new age, this new generation, this new era with a balanced foundation again, a strong foundation, I should say, where the stuff that should not be there is removed, and we're going to restructure. And this is where we need to find our place in it, because we are moving on now into a new time. And the Lord's going to equip us with our gifts and our talents. He wants us every month to review all these things. You know, next month we'll have a different area to look at in our own lives. And each month the Lord will show you about it. He'll show you, once you know also your chart, more detail about you. And this is why I want to show you too. I wrote this book, Your Destiny Discovered, Astrology for Believers. This speaks about it from a biblical viewpoint. Now we talk in this book, I talk about the primary star pattern, which is your sun and your moon and the rising sign. It doesn't say everything about astrology because astrology is so complicated, but this is a beginner's so that you can find out yourself, who you are, who God made you to be in a simple biblical way. There's scripture in here showing the background of it, and then we go through every sign, sun, moon, everywhere where these are placed on your blueprint, primary star pattern on your blueprint, and you can find out more about yourself. Now this book is available on Amazon.com, and you can get it there on the ebook version or the paperback like this. And it will really help you to understand yourself, to get started with astrology. You don't need to want to learn about astrology at all, about all this technical stuff I'm talking about. All you need to know is your birth date and time and place, and you'll find out about yourself. Now, another thing, if you want to just know about your rising sign so that you can follow along every month with this, you know, where I say here, this is if you're Pisces and it's in this house, what area of your life each month is going to be covered, please email me. And you'll have to send me your birth information so that I can let you know your rising sign, and then you'll be able to follow along every month to see which area of life the Lord is asking you to take a look at and strengthen and bring into alignment with Him. Now you need to do your own spiritual exercises, the scripture study, find scriptures that go with it, and edify yourself in that area. So it's a whole learning process that goes through every year, every house, every area. And then we have the different configurations in the heavens that actually maneuver what's going on this earth. So God is with us. God has a plan. The first thing, so that you're not frightened, is to know that there is a plan. And as long as you're in line with the Lord, speaking to Him and communicating with Him, He will get you through. The Holy Spirit will show you. We've got direct communication with God through Yeshua. Holy Spirit speaks to us. So if you'd like more information, again, please email me. And my website is newmooncelebrations.com. There'll be information on there. You can find out more about yourself. And if not, please join me next month again when we go over the next new moon. So God bless you. Hope to see you. Like and share this. if you have the nerve to share. I know this is still a controversial topic, but just like it or subscribe so that you know when a new message is coming. So God bless you and shalom.